Hello, 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 and welcome to ZBrush Live. I am your host for the next couple hours. Yeah, let's just make sure that everybody can see the screen and can hear me just fine, and then we can get going. So if you guys can, in the chat, let me know whether you can hear me okay and see my screen. We can get going. There's a few of you on here, so I don't know what it would be like. Okay, so Andreas, thank you very much. Sounds good. And then I'm assuming you can see everything is good. All right, cool. We can just go ahead and get started. So, Sorry I wasn't on the last time. It was I think the Friday before the ZBrush Summit, and so I think that the stream and everything was being tested for the ZBrush Summit, so that's why I wasn't on. So I apologize for that if you guys missed a Friday. But no worries, I'm back, and happy Thanksgiving, happy Black Friday, and yeah, so I think I've got maybe 2 more left this year before we close it out. So I'll be on, let me see here, it should be on the schedule, but I should be on the 9th of December, as well as, let me see, the 23rd of December, so right before Christmas. So make sure you tune in for those, and then that will close out the year. Now, a lot's happened since last time. We have, in the ZBrush Summit, they announced kind of what's coming in ZBrush in the next version. So that kind of changes my plan on this thing a little bit. So my plan for this thing was to take it into Cinema 4D and then take it into Redshift, but it looks like I'll be able to do that directly, so I'm not going to render this until that version of ZBrush comes out. So what I will do is I will just finish modeling on it, and then we'll just kind of put it aside, start on something else, and then once that version of ZBrush comes out, I'll go back to it and start the render process. Because it'll be a lot nicer to do this thing right in ZBrush. I think that'd be pretty cool. Then to kind of go through the process of exporting everything. It's a lot of subtools, so it might be, you know, something that will take a while. I was planning on doing it, but it would be a nice exercise for me to try the new ZBrush. All right, so this piece right here, I'm not very happy with. I know I spent a little bit of time on it and everything, but I'm not too happy with it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this. So I just have a copy of it, and then I'm just going to work on this new version of it and change it up. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and Dynamesh it. So it just kind of gives me a, do you want to freeze the subdivision levels? Sure. So I'm just kind of Dynameshing this thing. Let's see what it looks like. Did it fuse at all? It didn't fuse at all. That's weird. All right, let's just Dynamesh it again. No blur. And here we go. This is kind of what I want, more or less. Kind of rougher than I would like it, but it's fine. And I'm just going to group it as one group and then just work on it. I just did not like that cut line kind of coming in from the top. That just didn't look right to me. Okay, so also, I did a presentation at the ZBrush Summit, so hopefully some of you caught that, on kind of a different topic than what I usually do on here. So I will also, if anybody watched that and had questions and didn't get a chance to ask it, or didn't get the time for it to get answered, I can always answer those here as well. So if any of those come up, let me know. But if you guys are interested in watching that, you can, let me see here, you can go to Pixelogic's YouTube channel, and if you just go home to the home here, they have all 3 days here in their entirety, and I'm on day 2, kind of almost somewhere in the middle, right after the scan truck, so you guys can catch that there if you didn't get a chance to see it. The ZBrush Summit this year did not disappoint. It was as awesome as it's always been, and I'm really excited with some of the stuff that's on the way, as well as some of the stuff that they showed. I learned so much. It's kind of like, you know, a year of college in 3 days. It's really a pretty amazing occurrence. Day 2, Andreas. So here we go. I'll actually just kind of jump to it real quick. So this is day 2. Oh man, gotta skip this ad. Come on, skip it. Alright, well, I don't know why it's kind of stuck. There we go. All right, so, oh, here it is. So yeah, this is towards the end of it, so you can see I'm presenting here, and this is a 3D scan of me standing right behind me, which is kind of odd. But I start at around, let's see, like right after the scan truck ends, so at about maybe 7 hours and 10 minutes is when I start. So if you didn't get a chance to see it, definitely do. It's some good stuff, and there's some good stuff all throughout, so definitely worth the time. And I don't know what's going on with YouTube. I'm just going to, okay, good. All right, back to this. Andreas, hopefully you got that. You're good. And here I'm just going to push and pull on this thing to see if I can get something that looks a little bit more compelling than what I had before. It kind of was pretty awkward the way it was. It's kind of weird because this is an elbow piece and it's hard surface, and usually this is supposed to be you know, supposed to be kind of soft, but you know, it kind of, I put a hard metal thing here and a soft thing behind it, so it just wasn't looking right. So I kind of have to figure out a way to make this work. And as you can see here, pretty late in the design process, I'm still making some changes, and in my work flow as well as my work, that happens all the time. Sometimes we're done with something for months, and then we have to go back and make changes to it. So what else has been happening? Endor ended. Endor ended. And it was pretty good. I don't know if anybody got a chance to see it. It was really, it's kind of my favorite Star Wars show, I think. I like it more than Mandalorian, more than, well, it doesn't take much to like it more than Boba Fett, I guess. That wasn't their best, but yeah, no, it was really good. If you guys haven't had a chance to see it, if you're like sci-fi stuff, by all means, check it out. And I think it is renewed, so we will be seeing another season of it at some point. At least one, if not more. This corner here is kind of funky as well. Let's see if I can do something with it. See if I break it up, if it's going to be any better. I'm going to hide some of these other parts because I don't need them. Let's see, I don't need the top arms, I don't need the hanging arms, and what is this? I don't know what this is. Cable 10. Oh, this is the inside part. Okay. I haven't gone through and kind of done my rigorous renaming of things on this yet. Mostly because I have had barely any time to work on it outside of the stream, which makes me happy I have the stream, but also makes me sad that I'm getting less and less time to work on personal projects. Your screen is super clear. Okay, cool, cool, cool. And you were asking me about how I did the fabric look for the legs. I'll show you that. Okay, so let me go to that part. So this one right here, this is what you're asking about. So the way that this works is actually this is not geometry yet. Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. What you're saying is, how about putting the fabric look here that is in here? That's a good idea. Sorry, I didn't read your question correctly. Yeah, no, I think that might be a good thing. But the problem is that I'm assuming that these parts right here are going to be kind of a malleable material. That's kind of why they have these grooves on them. So if I make this material like this, then it will, you know, I mean, I could give it a try. Let's see, maybe that will be a good thing to do. Participatory sculpting brought to you by ZBrush Live. Why not? All right. I kind of have to see what this looks like this way. I'm just basically doing some gestural stuff This is pretty late in the process to be doing the things I'm doing right now. But like I said, sometimes things don't play the way you want them to. All right, so let's say we have something like this. Let's see, sermon harmony, yeah, forearm may need to be redone. Well, yeah, I might need to redo the entire forearm. That is definitely, I don't shy away from doing things like that, but let's see if we can rescue it this time around. And this is kind of why I was talking to some folks recently about streaming, and they were kind of wondering whether they should be practicing before they do their stream, and I told them that that kind of defeats the purpose. The reason why streaming is its own thing is because you're just basically going through the process you would go through if you're just working on this thing by yourself. And then as you're doing that, you are kind of getting into problems and then getting out of them, and people can see how that is done. Versus like some tutorial that basically is just really well kind of studied, and you know, it's just exactly, you know, the way that it's supposed to work. And of course, as you're following along, you might kind of run into problems, and if you don't know how to get out of those problems, that's basically the end of you following along with the tutorial. So streams are good in the way that, especially if you're watching live, you can ask questions, and it's a good way for you to kind of get an idea of what's going on. This is kind of getting worse and worse and worse. All right, I'm going to try something here and see if I can rescue it this way. All right. Now I'm a little bit shocked that I'm actually able to do this, as I am in a food coma like everybody usually is during Thanksgiving. But I've got caffeine that will help me kind of stay on track. Let's see. Oh yeah, no, I'm perfectly okay with taking feedback. I do that all the time at work, and I appreciate it. I know that you know, there's a lot of creative ideas, and why limit that? I'm trying to see if I can get some sort of a kind of a more interesting gesture, and I think I have one already, and I think that'll kind of make things work better with that piece. All right, this one, let's move that over here. Yeah, if I'm struggling with something and somebody has a suggestion, by all means. And you know, don't be offended if I don't do what you say, but on the other hand, I also am not somebody who's like, no, it has to be pure. All right. Let's go to these guys, move them. And I think basically changing this gesture a little bit might have done the trick, but we won't know yet. And then for this piece, what if I just don't use that piece? Yeah, how about that? What if I just don't use it? I think that looks better. Goodbye. And the previous one, goodbye as well. Can I use those somewhere else? Nope. All right, good. I think I'm just going to go with just this. How about that? And then the other option, which again I will try, is I'm going to Yeah, I think this is good. This will save us time. I think this will work really well. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying one is better than the other, live stream versus paid tutorial. I think they both have their places. But live streaming is kind of one of those things where it's just, I'm working, I'm doing this anyway. Why not just talk to people while I do it? It's beneficial for me because it kind of gives me it gives me a specific time where I am just sitting down doing this, because honestly, if it wasn't for this being scheduled, I might have not decided to work tonight, and then I would have felt bad about it tomorrow. So it kind of gives me a specific time to work on personal projects, and then for you guys it's great because you get to see me work live and you get to ask questions and participate and do all the fun live streaming kind of stuff. All right, and we got quite a few people today. I'm amazed. I actually thought today would be really slow because everybody's on vacation. But then I also forget that not everybody's tuning in from the US. All right. Yeah, this is looking a lot better. It's so funny the way these started out and the way they are now. It's just being significantly different. Let's see what they look like with the other parts. They fit better. Oh yeah, that looks more tentacly and looks a little bit better. I like the kind of little bit of the outwardness of it. And does this thing have subdivision levels? It sure does. Let's reduce it, and let's move this up a little bit to get a little bit more of a straight gesture here, and then just have it be coming in this way. Here we go. Yeah, it's the pie menu, this thing, it's funny, it comes up every single stream, and it's fine. It's actually a Wacom thing. So Wacom makes this menu as part of their thing. And so if you go to the Wacom settings, it's going to take a minute to come up here. I swear, if Wacom paid me $1 for every time I explained this, I'd have a few $100s. All right, why is this not coming up? Let's do it one more time. Looks like it was, but it didn't. All right. Here it is. Okay, so basically in the Wacom settings, if you go to on-screen shortcuts, so here on the functions, so here's your tablet, here's your functions. If you go to the on-screen shortcuts, there's a bunch of shortcuts here that they have. And you just basically can create a new one by just clicking on this plus. So I've created one that's ZBrush. And then notice here that it gives you the angle of the pie. So like the top is my mask pen. And that's assigned to a keystroke, which I think is 1. So basically, when I click here, it presses that keystroke and chooses the brush for me. And it's a fast way for me to choose the 8 most the 8 most brushes that I use all the time. And I've got Control A for the rest, and then Control B for all of the ones that I use, right? And of course, if I hit B, then there's the million other brushes. So it's a lot easier for me to pick brushes from a smaller menu, a bigger menu, and a bigger menu. And yeah, so this is kind of how this works. Let me try and see something here. And yeah, no, this is good. Yeah, I used to have all these brushes on my UI and used to go pick them, but then I'm always going somewhere to get them, and I have a bigger screen than this. This is 1080p. I usually work in 4K, so this one just comes up wherever I am, and I've got it mapped to the On the 3D mount, pen, I've got it mapped to this big button over here, so I can just bring it up. And yeah, it's super, super helpful. I like it a lot. All right. Pump this back up. I think my cat is might make an appearance today. Ismail, you're asking if it's better to just have it all be one piece or separate pieces. I think it depends on what you want to use it for. I mean, it's rare that it's all going to be one piece. You're always going to have more pieces, but it's a good idea to have it be, you know, have it broken up by different pieces, because you know, you can break them up by different things that they are. Like, for example, the material of this is going to be different than the material of, let's say, the hull or whatever. So you can separate them out by material. You can separate them out by, you know, pieces, so that, like, if you're going to work on something, you don't have the whole thing. You can only work on a specific part of it. So it really helps if you do break it up. Yeah. If we look at this one over here, you can see that it's got quite a few parts, right? So some of them are not even showing. So if I look at it here, you can see that they're all of these different parts that I'm using, and some of them, again, like I said, like specifically these last ones are not included. They're in this group on the bottom called builders that I'm not showing, but the rest of them are. And it's not an obscene amount of subtools. It's 86 of them. I've seen them run into the hundreds. So yeah, I definitely think it's a good idea to break it up if you can. Right here, let me kind of close this gap. I just noticed there was a gap over here. All right, back to, let's see. So this top arm is looking good. I'm happy with it. It's perfect. I'm just going to probably add some alphas to it. This one is actually kind of coming along. I just have kind of some concerns about the materials. And also, since I've warped this thing enough, these kind of groove areas here are kind of getting funky. So I'm going to go fix those as well. All right, so I'm just going to go to these pieces here and figure out what the best way to do this is. And I could straighten them out, or yeah. Let me go down in subdivision levels and see what I can do to get these to be better. I mean, usually I wouldn't add these things until I'm done with it, but I'm going to see if I can make these look a little bit better than they are now. And if not, then I'll just redo them. Yeah, I think they gotta go. All right. So luckily, I mean, there is some detail on this. I guess I'll just see if I can, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to try and freeze the transformations on here, and see if I can delete these edge loops and then bring things back. Freeze subdivision levels, and go in here and just delete all these in between edge loops. I'm already getting excited about the next thing I'm going to be doing on the stream, which is going to be a bust of something that I did in AI that you can see on my Instagram. So it's this thing right here. I'm going to be doing just this, which shouldn't take too long. So I'm going to be making this as a as its own kind of ZBrush model, just as a bust. You know, I want to, you know, I might be able to do the whole body, but for now I'm just going to do the bust. So that's going to be the next project, and I might even start that sooner because I think this is kind of getting close to it being rendered. And again, like I said, I'm going to wait until the new version of ZBrush comes out to do that part. Okay, so here you can see me just kind of getting rid of some of those edge loops, and there's a few here, and then I will just add new ones and redo this process. All right, I saw you guys have some questions. Oh no, it's the same stuff. Cool. Now what this also does is it kind of is removing some of that, a little bit of that gesture. So let me kind of see what it's like. It's good. And yeah, so there isn't, you know, I mean, I could break this up into more even parts, but it's not equidistant, right? The distance is not the same from here to here than from here to here. So it's still going to look wonky. So I need to make that be equidistant, and the good way to do that is to mask. Nope, not point. Let's do nothing with the point, but for edge, let's mask it. Mask, edge loop complete. Mask this one. Invert that mask, and then put this in that area like that, and just pick the kind of the angle that I want, and just I need local symmetry for that, and just straighten this out. That makes it straight, and then I'm going to do the exact same process with this one. Right. You can see here some of it is kind of even intersecting, so I'm going to get it out of the way. And I want it to be parallel to this one. It's kind of getting... nope. Maybe that method is not going to work over here. Could redynamesh it. All right, let's see if the reconstruct subdiv will bring some of my details back. And not reconstruct, but do this. And it did bring some of the details back. But I can adjust these parts. Actually, kind of made it even cooler. All right. How's it looking this way? I think it's looking okay. Maybe this part needs to go down. All right. Nothing new question-wise. You guys are just zoning out. Wow. I can't believe so many people are watching this on Thanksgiving weekend. But thank you for tuning in. So for those of you that just joined, if you have questions from my ZBrush Summit talk, I can answer them for you either now or some other time. I wonder if I could even get rid of this guy. What that would look like. No, that looks like... Actually, let me fix this part a bit before I bring that back. check out the silhouette here of this. Hide the hull and the front arms. Yeah, that's okay. Maybe a little bit further out on this guy. That looks good. I'm totally messing up these little hand thingies, but they're pretty low res, so it's not a big deal. All right, I think I'm kind of liking this gesture a little bit. Over here, maybe lift this up. All right, that looks good. What about this way? Okay. Do I have a name for this guy? I don't yet. I might have thought of one earlier, but I don't have one specifically for it. One of the things I had as an idea, if I was going to render it, it was to have him be like carrying Christmas ornaments and putting him on a tree, and that would have made it a nice kind of holiday thing, but I don't know. The announcement of Redshift being right in ZBrush kind of delayed when this thing's going to be done, so I don't know if it's going to be holiday times. So I still have to think of something else. One of the other things I was thinking of is that this is an archaeological robot. So the reason why I'm saying all this is because that would determine a good name for it. So for now, no name. But as soon as we figure out its purpose, it will be easy to name it. Okay, so I think this is looking a little bit better. I don't know what I want to do with it. Like, I don't know if I want to put these kinds of things on here. Maybe I can. Let's see what the topology looks like. The topology is all messed up. All right, so time to get rid of all the higher subdivision levels on this guy, which is going to remove some of the little details that I added, but I just have the general gesture, make it all one subgroup, and let's just zero mesh this thing. See what we get. So let's go for the same number and see what kind of result this gives us. Okay, a little bit better. I do have these where I can do the kinds of things I wanted to do, and I can start subdividing this a little bit. Let's get back up to 4 levels of subdivision, and yeah, and then let's do a little bit of masking so we don't mess these up because they're perfect. And yeah, I'm going to take a little bit of a break. Let's do a quick save. And my cat's kind of coming along here. Oh, there's its tail. So checking in on me and seeing if I'm doing a good job. Yeah, I thought it would be Marty, thank you very much. Greetings from China. Greetings back. And the holiday idea was a good. Yeah, I thought it was good. But alas, we are going to we're going to not be able to do that because of. Because we're going to render it later. And while this is saving and my hand is uncramping, I'm thinking of just started ZBrush. Any good ideas for what to look out? I don't know what you mean by what to look out. Do you mean like If you just started ZBrush, it's a very exciting time. Congratulations! It's such a it's such a fun thing to kind of be learning and being new to, and you have such an amazing journey ahead of you. Hopefully you stay on it. But I don't know what you mean by what to look out. Like, are you asking like if there's good tutorials or and all? But you know, let me ask you this question before anything else. What are you going to do with it? Why are you learning ZBrush, or why are you using ZBrush? Wow, this is one long quick save. All right, here we go. Are you learning it because what are you going to do? What industry are you in, or what specific purpose do you have for it? All right. Oh, 3D game art? Yeah, definitely. What I would say is for 3D game art, I think, you know, are you doing environments? Are you doing characters? What kind of game art are you doing? Are you doing levels? Are you doing... because it's really amazing for game art. Well, 3D game artist is pretty, you know, that's pretty generic. There's a lot of different things you can do when you're working in a game, on a game. There are character artists, there's environment artists, there are, and I'm just talking about the ZBrush stuff. There are, yeah, that's exactly what you should do, is make some assets and then also figure out what you want to do. Like, you want to be a character artist, or do you want to be a environment guy? Do you want to do props? Do you want to do vehicles? Do you want to do weapons? Do you want to do cats coming back? It's like Jaws. Dun 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 dun. All right. She's looking into what trouble she can get into. It's like, why aren't you paying attention to me and doing this stuff? She does that sometimes. Anyway, kind of, yeah, I think, yeah, do it all. Yeah, don't do it all. I think that is bad advice, actually. I think it's better to kind of figure out what you want to do and do that, instead of spending a lot of time learning things you're not going to be doing. You know, from a job perspective, if you're looking for work, it's easier to get work if you're an environment artist, because there's a lot more environments in games than there are characters. So if you're an environment and prop artist, you're probably going to get more work. And if you want to be a character artist, that's good too. And there is a lot of work for character artists. Sometimes some people do hero characters, some people do NPCs, so it is kind of also a good way to go. All right, I just don't want to get into the whole separating business again, but yeah, so I think you should do whatever it is, but learning, yeah, I think you can just kind of pick projects as you're learning, and that will teach you how to use the software and all the things, and then as you develop, maybe you can decide what you want to do then. All right, so this is one spiraling polygroup. Is that what's going on? That can't be. Oh, the cat is doing some naughty stuff around me. Okay, it is. Sometimes that happens where you basically get this thing's all one spiral. So I'm going to do another Bezier mesh and do detect edges, see if I get something better. And some of the ZBrush stuff that they showed, here we go, this is better. With the new version of ZBrush, looks so good. I'm kind of wishing that stuff was here now. I could have used it right here. See here, I'm kind of looking to do these kinds of things, but I want them to be a little bit thicker, so I'm going to erase some edge loops. insert. Here's one. Here's two. And here is three. All right. I think she found a good place to hang out, so we're good there. Yeah. So yeah, they showed some really nice stuff. I'm kind of really eager to get going on them. Hopefully, it will be released soon, sooner rather than later, so we can all benefit from the genius behind the software. Okay, so let's see here. Some questions. How many subdivisions are there for the Mech model? It depends on the parts. Marty XYZ, you know, I try to keep everything under 6, but if I start with really low resolution, I might go up to 7 or 8. But I think, you know, it's anywhere between 4 and 6. How's the pay for environment artists compared to artist categories? I don't know. It all depends. I think artist pay, or just pay in general, is becoming more and more transparent, so you can find out all that stuff online. I don't know exactly what it is. Depends on the company, the game company, whether the game is a kind of a starting game or if it's an established game. Like, I'm sure environment artists that work at Naughty Dog make a decent living, more so than somebody who works in an indie game company, but I'm not sure. So you can do that research yourself. Should you learn drawing or anatomy? I definitely think you should learn anatomy. Drawing is not required, although there's a lot of things that you learn when you learn how to draw that can come in very handy and helpful when you're using ZBrush. So I would definitely say that if you're struggling with drawing, you might have some of the same struggles in ZBrush. But I also do know a lot of really amazing ZBrush artists that don't draw. So, you know, yeah, I think it depends on you and how you learn. Also, you know, for ZBrush, you need a computer, you need the software, you need all this stuff. For drawing, all you need is a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil. So it's a lot easier to get into drawing than it is to get into ZBrush. So I would say that it helps, but it's not required. Anatomy, though, definitely is required. Especially if you're going to be a character artist, then you need to know anatomy really well. And if you don't want to be a character artist, you want to be a vehicle artist, then you need to understand the anatomy of vehicles and how they're made and how they move and all that stuff. So there's stuff to learn on all fronts. But learning human anatomy doesn't hurt. Because even if you are not going to be making characters, you are going to have characters using your vehicles and guns. So knowing what their anatomy is like and all that definitely does help. All right, so here I'm just kind of creating those edge loops that are going to be kind of those bending in parts. I know I've done this many times before up here and whatnot, but I haven't done it on this arm. Okay. I notice here that this is I'm working on this on the lowest subdivision level. I'm not, you know, I didn't even keep the subdivision levels, the higher ones. I'm just getting all this stuff to work, and man, look at this topology over here. It's a big mess. Let me see if I can clean that up. And now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to zero mesh this, but I'm going to keep the groups so I don't lose this. Let's see if it does it. Yep, it did do it. However, I did lose some of my I did lose some stuff here, but not too bad. And it's weird that it made this into a different polygroup, but it's fine. And I can just delete these edges. So Here we go. All right, so I've got those going, and that's good. And I've got more decent topology. Let me make sure these look good from the side. I don't think they look too bad. All right, so I've got a little bit of this, and then there's this piece that's kind of the elbow, and then maybe have some more here. And it would be good to have a consistent number. So here I've got 3 of these, so here I can have 4, it's not that bad. But let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there's 11 of them over here. And maybe I'll do the same here and have 11 as well. So I'm going to use a kind of a neat technique here to do that. I'm going to do this. Mask and poly loop. And I think there might be a way of doing this by, there might be a way of growing out the poly group as well. But I'm just going to do it here with the mask because I know for a fact that there's a way to do that with mask. What happened to my tool brush or tool menu? Come back. All right, there it is. And then let's grow that mask out. Masking. And let's see, does boost do it? Nope. Grow. Okay. And sharpen. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's grow it some more. Sharpen. I'm just trying to get like around 11 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so that's 13 of them. Maybe that's a little bit too many. So I'm going to shrink it. Sharpen it. All right, that's 11. So here what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say, okay, if I hit Control W, that's going to polygroup them all this polygroup. So it's kind of a nice way to just get these polygroups all in one shot. All right, so now I've got that, I've got that. I think I'm good to be able to put those serrations in there, and here we go. So the way to do that is I'm just going to go ahead and QMesh. Poly loop. And this is going to be tricky, so I'm just going to zoom in to do it. And there might be an easier way of doing this, but right now this is the way I'm thinking of doing it. All right, for edge action, I'm going to do nothing. For point action, I'm going to do nothing as well. So it just has polygons. And the only problem is I need to make sure, let me get as close to this as I can. I need to make sure that it's going in the right direction. Okay, and this is what I want to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this one had 11. I'm going to need more, but that's fine. All right, wait. I got a bunch of people saying a bunch of stuff, so let me read all that. Give some parts to Kat. Yeah, I know. Yeah, right. So she comes over and she starts using her tail to like whack the pen off its thing, and like maybe sometimes presses mouse buttons. So her stuff is in there somewhere. All right. Am I using a mouse or a pen? I'm definitely using a pen. I'm using a Wacom Intuos Medium, and I'm using the Wacom 3D pen. So if you want to make environments, buildings, or I wouldn't do buildings. I would do like boxes, and like any game that you like. Just look at all the stuff that's around you and just make them. Like a heap of trash, or like some of the boxes that you see around, or some of the bushes, or
get, like panels and all sorts of stuff that you see in an environment, and pick any environment. Pick like a Western environment, or pick a like a medieval environment, or whatever kind of game you want to work on. A modern environment like a city, and then just look around, walk around your city and see all the different kinds of things there are on the streets, and just make them, and just keep doing that until you can come up with a good environment. Right. I'm actually kind of going off here just to get more of these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But yeah, you can make like type of environments that are in games. Like, if you're going to make a shooter, then you need to kind of create a shooter environment. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then if you're going to do a game like a Nintendo game or whatever, the environments there are completely different. So you need to learn how to do stylistic environments. And that's a whole other... oops. I don't know what happened there. Keeps happening. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right. Two more. And I'll do one on this side. The thing is, I wish there was a smarter way to do this directionality than the little line, because it's kind of like if it's on the long side, it's going to definitely do that. But if it's on the short side, it's kind of tricky. Some of these things might be better done with the mouse too, by the way, because you can have more precise control. Okay, so these are actually getting a little bit longer. So I'm going to try and do another one on this side. Or I can slide this in a bit. Let's see if that works. Here we go. These aren't very even, but that's still okay. Yes. All right. So let's see what that looks like when I look at it without the polyframes. Yep, it kind of is matching the ones on top. I think I could push these in a little bit more. Let's see if I can figure out a way to do that. Luckily, all the inside parts are the same poly group, so I'm going to say mask poly group. Mask poly group all, and hopefully it's just these guys. Yep, it is. Invert the mask, and then I can just put one of these in here, like so. There's a kind of a cool way of centering this if it was the opposite way. I'm going to try and see if I can do it. So I'm going to slip the mask, and there is a feature that allows you to place this apply no, not that. Where are you? There is something that will go directly to the center of the masked area, and I have it on my UI. I think it's maybe further out this way. All right, no worries. I'll just do it by hand. I'm just going to solo the object so I don't have all the stuff roaming around. And I just want to move this kind of towards the middle of that and see if I can get it to work. Is local symmetry on? It is. So what if I do this? Here we go. So here I'm just kind of pushing that in a little bit more. So when I do the this, then it kind of looks more like the one on top. Okay, that's good. That's perfect. Yep. So matches that a little bit, and it's a little bit extended, so I can always I think this is still, oops, stop it. Okay, this is still kind of on the right trail, so I can just compress it down a bit. Works. I think I'm just going to leave it be. It looks fine. Okay. And I do have a little bit of leeway, but I need to do the ones over here as well. And I think that would do it for us. All right. So QMesh again. Oh, wow. A bunch of questions. Let me read them. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think the generalist versus the specialist argument is kind of one that goes on all the time. I think what you should do is you should really think about kind of what your strengths are. If your strengths are like, if you're able to focus on one thing and be very good at it, then that's kind of the what I would recommend you do. What's going on with this? Here we go. But if you're somebody that kind of gets distracted and likes to, you know, solve different types of problems, then maybe a generalist is the way to go. I don't know. It all depends. I think sooner or later you are going to become... Sooner or later you do have to specialize in something. Okay, I think that's good. QMesh. Nope. Here we go. Let's see what that did. I think that looks good. All right, so no, I think I'm not gonna. I'm gonna omit these. I'm just gonna keep that straight. And then this part is kind of the funky part over here, so I'll have to figure out how to make like this part. This mask part is the part that's always been an adventure with this arm. So this mask part over here, and I have to figure it out. I don't know if I'll do it during the stream or off camera, but I have to figure out how to make this work. Like this looks good, this looks good, this does not look as good as I like it to. So I'm going to try doing one thing here, which is extracting it. As a separate piece and seeing if I can make sense of it. All right. Some more stuff coming in. It isn't possible, you know. It is. I would say it is. It is possible to rig a character if it's in a not a T-pose, but it's very difficult and a pain in the butt. So that's why riggers always want you to give them the characters in T-pose, right? So I'm gonna Dynamesh this thing and then ZBrush it. And I'm going to ZBrush it, detect edges like that. Let's see what we got here. And give this a little bit of an inflate. see if this works. I think I have an idea that might make this work. And that's if this thing is catching something in that way. I don't know. I'm still need to work on it. But yeah, I would say that it's best to rig your characters in T-pose, and especially with Character Creator. I don't know if you guys saw what I did at the summit with the character that I had. With Character Creator, you can use AccuRig, which is free, by the way. And I'll probably be showing that at some point in the stream. I'll be using it. But AccuRig is really nice, and it will allow you to rig a character very quickly using just by placing points, and it will create a rig for you. It's pretty nice. I think they've done a good job with that. All right, let's dynamesh this. Let's remesh it again. Are you talking about this as surface noise down here? This part, Jin? If it is, it's micro mesh, so it's basically just here you can see it. So I have dynamic subdiv on, and I've got not micro mesh, but micro poly. So that's kind of just micro poly. So this is just the topology of it, and then I have micro poly with one of the stock ZBrush micro polys, which is I think, is it Bumps 04? Yeah, it is. Yeah, micro mesh is pretty amazing. It's like one of the coolest things ever. All right, let's get back to this arm. How are we doing on time? Jeez. Can't believe we've kind of whittled through an hour already. All right, so what to do with this part? I think maybe this part can be, like if this is cloth, so let's say this part is metal, then this part here could be cloth, like this. So let me try that. Let me try and see what that will do, just for kicks. Since we are we're just talking about that, let's see if this will work. Kind of does and kind of doesn't. Let's see if we can do some things to it to make it work better. I think somebody suggested that earlier, so I am going to give it a try and see if it works. Okay, I'm going to re-zero mesh it so I can get even topology. And also, this is too small, so I'm going to zero mesh this with bigger squares to get bigger. Yeah, here we go. That looks more like it. This might work, kind of. I don't know. Maybe put some bolts and nuts in here, but yeah, I think this might work. Let the audience's suspension of disbelief kind of fill in the blanks of what happens there. So, two things that are shocking to me today. One is that there's so many of you. Oh, I don't want to keep it the same number. There's so many of you watching this thing, which is odd because I definitely didn't think there'd be a lot of people watching today just because of the holiday weekend. So one thing is I'm pretty kind of amazed that there's so many people here. And the other shock is that not too many people are asking me questions about the my ZBrush Summit presentation. I think there'd be plenty of questions coming about that, but I don't know if a lot of people have watched it. I don't know if there's crossover, but I mean, I think I'm eventually going to get a bunch of questions about that on here. All right, so this is looking a little bit better. Definitely a lot more feasible. one more ZBrush here, and it's fun because ZBrush is just kind of figuring out the way that this works, and the way ZBrush works creates a nice pattern, so that's working out pretty nice. All right, let me check one thing here. Right. One more ZBrush. Okay, I think that might be okay, and then I can put some parts in here to kind of make it supporting, but I think that kind of maybe is looking good. Whoever suggested that, thank you very much. It definitely solves a big problem. I'm trying to see if it even looks better if it's longer. All right, so you see how this is stretching over here, but not a problem. I'll just ZBrush it again and it'll fix it. But I just want to see if I... maybe not that much, maybe just to here. Okay, all right, so that works. I think that definitely solves that problem. And then here with this one, I'm going to add some subdivisions to it. And is it still in dynamic? It is. It's cool. I can just hit this a little bit with... Oh, you know what happened is this was masked, so it kind of created this weird subdivision thing. I don't want that. So here I'm just going to add subdivisions this way, which is what I originally intended. And Shift D. Let's see, do I have 4? Nope, 3. I'll do one more. And for the second subdivision level, let's see, yep, smooth this a little bit so it kind of looks more like the one on top. That's good. And then I'll just kind of create some hard edges up here. I might just cut this into 2 pieces too at some point, but it's good for now. It's wild because let's put that all the way up to 4. Like the last few streams, all I've been doing is working on these arms, and just because they just don't look exactly the way I want them to, which is fine. I mean, arms are kind of a big feature of this thing, so the more time I spent on it, the better. And for those of you that haven't been paying attention, the reason why this design exists the way it is because I used AI to... I don't know if this is going to work, but I'll give it a try. I used AI to just generate an image based on my work. Yeah, I didn't think so. No worries. I can do this a different way. This would be a nice problem to solve, is like to use the clip brushes when you have something that's in symmetry mode. But this is working. Maybe I should fix this at lower subdivision level. Here we go. There's that. Oh, I got somebody tuning in from Saudi Arabia. That's wild. So yeah, I guess it's more of an international group of people today. Most of the people in the U.S. are probably spending time with their families. Why does it keep going to that? And enjoying their Thanksgiving holiday. I haven't heard of any like massive Black Friday battles, so hopefully that's going well. All right. Coming closer to having this thing be what I want it to be. But yeah. One thing I should mention that I was very pleasantly surprised about today was that the US finally has a viable soccer team. I don't know if anybody caught the game today, but it was pretty amazing. I was like, damn, we have a good soccer team. What a surprise. Hopefully they'll do better than they've done over the years. But yeah. I'm not a huge soccer fan, but I usually watch the World Cup. Thank you. Oh, good, good, good. Yeah. Congratulations on winning the thing. That's great. Who did you win the class with? Thank you, Canadians. I love Canadians. They are my favorite neighbor for the country. So yeah, thank you. Ooh, that was interesting. I like Thanksgiving as a holiday because I think it's good because it's not like a religious holiday. It's kind of just people saying thanks. And it's interesting that different countries have different versions of it. But it's a very kind of nice vacation because, or a holiday, because it kind of is a way to appreciate, things around you, say thank you, and express gratitude to things that help. So yeah. I mean, I know it's portrayed as like a eating thing, but food is just a very small part of it. What I really like about this is that I can continue to make changes, and you can see that the cloth pattern, for lack of a better word, is adjusting accordingly. All right, there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to use the same color that I have on here to fill this object, and then shift to a different color so it kind of matches. Let's see. Yeah, that looks good. All right, I'll buy that. And I'm going to do the thing that I talked about earlier, which is see if I can separate this other thing. Well, actually, it's not that big of a deal to just move it in. Okay, so yeah, I've got a nice thing. I guess, would it be nice for this to point up? Let's see. This is kind of a dumb thing for me to be doing at this point, but I'll give it a try. I can always undo. I'm probably going to undo this and do it properly, but I just want to see if... No, I think it's fine the way it was. Maybe just give it a little bit of a gesture this way. There we go. And then I might use this kind of thing on the top just to do the similar thing down here. I haven't decided yet. All right. We're doing on time. We're doing perfect on time. Oh, jewelry workshop. That's great with Thomas and Eric. That should be fun. Yeah, that, I'm sure that you'll learn a lot about ZBrush, and you'll learn a lot about how to do jewelry with ZBrush as well. Did they give away a 4090? I watched some of it. I haven't watched it all entirely yet. But did they give a 4090 away? An NVIDIA 4090? Was that one of the prizes? And also, did they give a 3D printer away? Was that one of the prizes? I'm kind of curious. Because if they did, that'd be pretty cool to win one of those things. They were giving away a lot of stuff, which was awesome. They always do. Yeah, you lucked out. Congratulations. And I think, that tutorial is pretty good, especially for jewelry. Like Tomas and Eric do really well. I mean, Eric's been teaching ZBrush forever. He's written books on it. The guy knows his stuff. Knows Maya too, which is amazing. All right, I'm kind of doing something I don't want to do here. I'm totally like sculpting on this more than I want to. I might need to go back and do that thing again, but I might not need to. I don't know. Let's see. All right. I'm doing the exact same thing I tell my students not to do, which is stay on one part for too long. So I'm going to move off that arm and move into something else. I think that most of the other things that I have are done. So the dangling arms, these ones, this is done. I don't need to do anything with this. I think it's pretty much done. Only thing I want to do is determine whether or not I want to keep this part or not. I kind of like it, but also I want to see what it looks like without. So here we go. Let's choose it. And I need to expand this out. Where are you? There you are. And let's see what happens if I hide it. So does it look better like this? I think it kind of does look better like that. Okay, so, or like that. It looks good both ways. So I hate it when that happens. I hate it when something is like so. It's not what I want. This is what I want right here. Like I would rather it didn't look good so I could just get rid of it, but it does kind of have some interesting aspects to it. So I'm just going to play around with it for a little bit. If I can pull something out of it, that's great. If not, it's going away. I don't think it's really adding anything. Let's move it up. Yeah. The thing is, this is very low-res piece, so I can make, big changes to it just in that mode. And I think, I'm getting to a point where it is actually doing something for the model. So I might just keep it. So unfortunately, I embarked on another project, so my kind of individual stream is getting delayed more and more and more. I kind of want to do one of these not under ZBrush Live, but just kind of be able to do it on my own. But I haven't had the time to get that set up. Kind of sometimes wish I had a bunch of people working with me that could help me with those things, but it's just me. Like, it would be great if I had, like, you know, a media manager or somebody who just did all that stuff. Got me set up. Oh, I'm going to not do the autosave for now, but I will do it soon. Just kind of want to get going on this thing that I'm doing. Then do that. Yeah, I think that looks really good. I'm glad I kept that piece. Okay. All right, so the hanging arms, I think they're pretty much done. For this one, I just need to subdivide it a couple of times. Because right now it's in dynamic subdiv mode, so Control D. Oops. Let's do this. Let's just apply this and just straighten up a few things. All right, let's see. Yeah, they give away tablets and display tablets and all sorts of stuff. Are you asking the brushes and with the class? They include assets and brushes. That's awesome. And Tomas talks about all that stuff during he streams as well, by the way. So the guy that you're going to get classes from streams as well. And it'll be very useful for you to watch his streams because you can ask him questions after your class is done and over with, right? So you can take your class, and then if you have questions, you can ask them, and he'll answer them for you. And he makes some really beautiful stuff. I always admire some of the... when you see the guy, you know, and... This is one of the things that I miss about the ZBrush Summit is that it wasn't in person, but like if we see him, he usually is wearing all the stuff that he makes, and it looks really good. I wish I was interested in jewelry because I think I could make some cool stuff, but it's not my thing. Like, I barely wear a watch. So I'm just kind of trying to negotiate these edges, these surface edges, to create something that works better. I'm getting the urge to make a car again at some point. I probably will do that. I don't know if you guys saw the Bugatti that was in the summit that they showed with the redshift renders. That looks really nice. Like, that is perfect proof that you can do amazing hard surface stuff in ZBrush. And the person that made that Bugatti did a hell of a good job with it. Excuse me. All right, so the stangling arm is done. We don't have to do anything there. This top arm is done. This one, I need to add some kit bash parts to get it to look better, which I will probably do next. We're back to this thing. We can't get away from it. And the leg, I kind of am... This kind of bottom part is still intriguing to me. Like, I still haven't figured out how to make that work better. Let me see here. Do I have anything I'm not showing? I do. It's internal, internal. Yeah, I definitely need to go in here and clean this up with parts that I don't need. It'll probably make the quick saves a lot faster too. But this is a good time to do a quick save. Let me do that. Let's see if there's any new questions coming in. Leon, you sense some tension between the presenters. And like I said, I didn't, since I was presenting, I didn't get to watch everything. I was getting ready for stuff, so I don't know specifically what you're talking about. But Paul and Louis have been presenting together forever. They're really, they're very complimentary, and Ian is new, so I don't know. I think, I didn't see any of it. I thought it was really cool. But if there's something specific and that you observed, then I don't know what to say. But I thought it was exactly like previous ZBrush summits. I just wish it was in person. That virtual set that they had was really nice. I kind of thought that was pretty amazing. It was kind of like AR in a way. So this is working. This is not working as well, and I think maybe because I need to add some parts to it. So I'll have to figure this out. This arm's going to be a pain in the butt until it's done right. What if I just don't use that arm? Let's see if I just take it out completely. If it's going to... Sometimes you've got to do that. Hello. It kind of doesn't look good, but it also does look good. All right, so we need it. We just need to figure out how to make it work. Okay. All right, so let's see. So next year is going to be the 10th year of the ZBrush Summit. I wonder what kind of things they're going to do. They have to make it really... Hopefully it'll be in person, first of all. I think that would make it a lot better. Not that, I mean, as far as it being not in person, I think they did amazing... Whoa, what happened there? That is weird. Oh. That is so weird. Okay, whatever. Something really kind of weird happened there, but it seems to be okay now. All right, and I'm going to just ZBrush this once. That was very strange what just happened. I mean, it seems to be working fine, but you know what? Maybe I should quick save. Let me just do a few more things. And I'll quick save it just for kicks. So ZBrush, detect edges. I don't want to keep groups. Same, that's good. And let's turn dynamic back on and see what that looks like. It's okay. All right. I don't know why this thing does not take the color of this on. So that's the color there, right? Yep. And fill object. Move off of it. Yeah, okay. Turn AccuCurve on here. See if I can give this thing some sharper angles. I think the thing that makes this leg work is this piece in between. Like, I wonder if I could figure out something to make this work as well, like that. But maybe I should just leave it. for now. I've been spending a lot of time on that arm, and I should be spending time on other things. All right, so let's see. The other thing I wanted to work on are these balloons, a little bit more on these. So I wonder if I should be doing those for the rest of this session. All right, so these are cloth. They're using the dynamic system in ZBrush. And let me see, is dynamic on them? Yes, they are. It is. I'm going to turn that back on. And I'm going to see if I can get something a little bit more interesting going on. I mean, they look like they are kind of hanging correctly, but they're the symmetry on them is kind of giving them away. Let me turn off the poly frame. What is the max poly count I like to work with? I've gone up to 130 million on one model. So, and as long as you have it divided up correctly, I think you can do some amazing stuff with that. All right. So here I've got this. It's got dynamic on. I'm going to go ahead and bring up some of the cloth brushes and see if I can push and pull this thing around and get some interesting stuff going. I can. Let's bring the rest of the model up. All right, first thing I'm going to do is turn symmetry off so I don't get the same thing on both sides. And I'm going to do something with this in a little while that's going to make it work a little bit better. But right now I just want to add some extra wrinkles to this. Okay. Trying to not make the joke that I want to make. All right, and then I'm going to use the inflate with negative to deflate these bottom parts a little bit. And actually, I don't think that worked well. All right, and then I'm just going to use some dynamics with this. Is that a mother brain from Metroid? It is not. These are just balloons. What advantages are there compared to Blender or Cinema 4D with it? 100th ape. Well, congratulations on having the Maxon 1 subscription. That's kind of a nice thing. And the answer to your question is that ZBrush is more of a kind of a sculpting tool, and it allows you to do a lot more organic stuff. That's what most people use it for. But also it allows you to work with very high poly count models that Cinema 4D and Blender do not allow you to do. But it's a very unique application and unique in the ways of what it does. All right, so now I'm just going to mask this bottom part like this and blur that mask quite a bit. And then I'm going to set the direction to be this way, and let's turn gravity down. And turn this to inflate. Let's see what we get. All right, that's looking more balloon-like, but I want some wrinkles, so I'm going to also click on expand. Let's see what we get there. Okay, that's good. And then let's get it to shrink. Nope. I'm going to try liquefy for this, see if I get... Okay, that's good. And then I'm going to grow my mask out. Blur it. Not that much. And then I'm going to inflate. All right, that's kind of looking more like a balloon inflating. Move this down. Oops. symmetry again. This is looking even, but not too even. And then just do this with it. It's good. All right, and then what I want to do is inflate this top part, so I'm just going to mask this like that. And just run, okay, so inflate, no expand, and inflate it. So it just looks like a balloon inflating, right? That's good, and this is kind of exactly the way I want this to be. Now, the big question I have is, like, is there something at the bottom of these balloons kind of as a ballast? And also, I think these would look better if they were just completely flipped around. Like that. But opposite way. Yep. That's it right there. All right, let's see if the color holds up. It does. All right, I'm going to be putting lettering and stuff on these balloons, but basically these are just coming off of the, and let me go ahead and import the image that these are for, to just kind of remind myself of what I'm going towards. So it's basically this thing here that we're trying to achieve. This is what the AI produced. So we're trying to get this kind of thing happening, and that's looking good. The balloons are too high, move them down a bit. We shrink them down this way. I think the balloons look a little bit more this way as well. I mean, again, it's just kind of suggestive to the AI, but let me use another brush here, and I'll just nudge these just to get a little bit more of what do we got here. Inflate, turn that off. Let's see if we can get, and again, let's turn symmetry off and see if we can get something a little bit looking a little bit more organic. And then let's go to inflate again. Inflate some of these parts out. I love the dynamics in ZBrush. They're so good. But yeah, I think Cinema 4D is really good for like a general 3D application. It does stuff really well. I didn't really use it that much, but since they are one company now, I used it a little bit more, and it's, you know, it's not a hard thing to learn if you know any 3D application. So if you know Blender, for example, Cinema 4D isn't going to take you that long to pick up. And you know, Cinema 4D is good for doing certain things, like you know, if you're going to do some kind of animation, you're going to do some motion graphics. It's got a lot of capabilities like that. And so it's good for those kinds of things. And then ZBrush is good for doing things like what I'm doing right now. And again, you can use them together seamlessly because you can just go Z things back and forth. And that relationship's gotten a lot better too. Like go Z with Cinema 4D's gotten a lot better. I think with version 22.06 they've added some of those capabilities, and they're very welcome. But yeah, you can do some amazing stuff with Cinema 4D. Okay, so these are starting to look more and more asymmetrical, which is what I was shooting for. Now all I got to figure out is how they are connecting to this, and it's with this thing in the back. And maybe they're too big now, so I'm going to shrink them down. It's too much. All right, let me look at these things by themselves and without poly paint again. I'm assuming this is like some high-grade plastic. So I'm going to try and use micro mesh with this as well. So I don't have that in my menu. Geometry, dynamic, micro poly, not micro mesh. I keep mixing those two up. And let's use something like, I don't know, let's see what this looks like. No. Something like this, but aligned. No. Nope. I guess I could zero mesh this thing just to get more even topology, but let me try a few things here to see what would look good. No, something like that. No. I mean, it looks in the picture, it looks pretty kind of non-texturized, but I'm just trying to see if I get at least something on there and if it will make it look better. I think it's not going to really look better until I zero mesh this thing. Here we go. See what that looks like. No. I'm kind of at a loss as to what would be the thing that would make this really. I'm going to try one more thing here, and then if it doesn't work, I'm just going to give this up. No. I lied. I'm going to try two things. I'm going to try this too. And what if I do this, and let's do more divisions. Oh, actually, that might work. This might work right here. This kind of looks okay. So it's got like some texture to it, but not too much. Let me even try the thing that I had on the other pieces. Oh yeah, here we go. Here it is. Right here. All right, so let's see what that looks like overall with everything else. Nah, it's not fighting it, so that's good. And then I'm going to use the some cloth brushes here. I think there's one that says cloth inflate. That's exactly what I want. Yep. Inflating it way too much. Again, I'm working with very low poly. Just kind of want to get it more rounded. There, let's bring the color back and see what that looks like. I think this is kind of looking pretty good. At some point I'm going to have to paint like some letters and so. What happened to the color? Oh, did I lose the color? No worries. Easy enough to get it back. But I think I might have lost it when I zero meshed. Alright, no worries. I'll just paint it. Paint, pick this color, yellow. This color right here. And let's pick this red. I'm forgetting to hold Alt down to pick up the color in the image. Okay, let me solo these out. It's easier for me to do. And then let's pick up this orange. And back to the yellow. All right, not too hard to get that back. And then let me see if I can, oh, don't want to do that. Switch. See how, yeah, I need to subdivide it. Okay, subdivision 1, subdivision 2. I think I'm going to apply the dynamic subdiv here. So let me go to geometry, dynamic, turn that off, turn it back on, and just apply it. It's going to take a minute, and here we go. Now let's see what writing would look like. Okay, we're good there. So I have to do some kind of you know, Japanese or Chinese characters on here. I'll do that later. I just wanted to make sure I have enough resolution, and I do. So I could get pretty detailed on here. Right? Oh wow, we're almost out of time. Okay, so let's see. Looks like Metroid enemy character. Yeah, all right, so converting 2D images to 3D is great. I mean, basically that's what I'm doing here. I'm taking this image and converting it into a 3D model. So yeah, definitely good for that. Let me just choose a different color here. Yeah, above 2 million polys. I would say that's the case with most programs like that. So both Blender and Maya and Cinema 4D, I think there's a polygon limit. They're not really meant for you know, high detail sculpting, and ZBrush is. Okay. Have I watched Roger Rabbit? I have. Yeah, I have watched it. You know, the thing about PCs is, again, like I said, with ZBrush, you can work with high poly models, and not worry about crashing your machine if you use the right kind of breakdown. So make sure that you've got pieces in subtools. We talked about that earlier, about how, you know, if you can keep it all as one piece, or if you want to keep it as separate pieces. But keeping it in separate pieces helps, because that way, you know, each subtool can have a certain number of polygons, and then you're not really working on, you know, when I said I've worked on a model that has 136 million polygons, it wasn't all one tool. I mean, it wasn't all one subtool, it was a bunch of different ones. So you can just break up your models, and I think for each subtool, if you stay around 15 million polys, I think you should be fine. But even then, that's a lot of polygons. 15 million polygons is plenty. All right, so let's bring the rest of it up. Okay, this is looking good. cat's coming back, telling me it's time for me to go. I don't know if you guys saw any of that. She's always curious when I'm doing these things, like what's going on. All right, so this is kind of getting to where we want it to be. I think it's getting close to rendering it. I don't know if I'm going to continue with this next stream or if I'm going to do something new, but I think it's at a point where I can start rendering it and getting what I want out of it. All right, thank you. You guys keep up the re-upload, right? Yeah, we do. After these are, after I'm done, like even right after this is going to be on ZBrush's or ZBrush's YouTube channel, as well as I think it stays on Twitch for a little bit too. Whoa, what just happened there? That was cute. That was weird. And I think it will stay on Twitch's channel as well, so you guys can catch up. Sweet spot is 25 million ZBrush. Okay, sure. After ZMesh, I lose quite a significant amount of details. Do I get them back using projection? You do, yeah. If you just subdivide it back to that level, you do. Last throughout, or do you need to subdivide multiple? You do need to subdivide to get the details, right? It's just a matter of a number of polygons. So if you zero mesh and you lose your details, if you duplicate and then zero mesh it, then you can re-subdivide it a few more times and then reproject. Okay. All right, well, good. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. Again, I just want to thank you all for being on with me live. If you aren't, if you're watching this after the fact, and if you have questions, it's always fun to connect up live with me, and you can ask your questions then on what I'm working on or what I've worked on in the past. And last but not least, join me again next time, which is going to be December 9th. And I hope to see some of you there. And with that, I will wish you all a good day, a good night, good noon, whatever time it is where you are. And happy ZBrushing, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.